Hello, welcome to Jason the Old Millennial. My name is Jason, speaking to you here in my basement in the great state of Kansas. And today's video, I am going to finish my series on the Harry Potter series, the franchise. I reviewed all 8 movies, and I'll just also talk about the books as well. And so for the final, I am going to rank all 8 movies. Anyway, so yeah, there are going to be maybe some surprises here, some not surprises, but everybody's list is different. So hopefully, if you follow my series, you kind of know what my favorites are, but I'll go through them a little bit and give you reasons why anyway. So I hope you'll enjoy this great franchise, one of my favorite franchises of all time, my favorite book series of all time for sure. Movie series, probably maybe my favorite movie series in fact as well. I think they did a really good job with it, adapting the books into these movies. So be fun to talk about this, finish this series anyways, and yeah, so let's see what they are here on Jason, the Old Millennial. Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well here on a Wednesday late afternoon, I guess. Yeah, bringing you this series to an end, talking about the Harry Potter franchise, which is so fun. I love talking about Harry Potter. Great sci-fi fantasy series. I do love a good fantasy series, and obviously the books are probably the biggest book series of all time. The movie series, probably the biggest movie series of all time. Every movie made tons of money. 8 movies in total off of 7 books. So it's been just a really lucrative franchise, both literally the books and the movie wise anyways. And I did this series thanks to Briar, my friend Briar from Briar's Music Showcase, who won a contest, a trivia contest that I did. And this is the franchise he picked for me to review. So very happy. I've always wanted to review this franchise on the channel because it's, again, such a beloved franchise for me growing up. I mean, I say growing up, I was in kind of high school when it started, and I really didn't get into Harry Potter until I was in college. But even as a college kid, I totally fell in love with these books and movies anyways. But yeah, so getting to it, we're getting to number 8 on my list. What is my least favorite Harry Potter movie in the series? If you've paid attention, you may not be surprised, but it is Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, the 6th movie in the series. Yeah, to me, the book is one of the best books in the series, and this was the most disappointing movie in the series. I feel like it wasn't really adapted very well compared to the other movies. They throw in like this whole trying to Harry Potter romance thing in here, and he does have a romance story, of course, with Ginny Weasley, but it was done so much better in the book. I thought the way they did it in the movie, I thought was terrible. When they had their first kiss, was not really as interesting as it was in the book. So I thought they really missed it on that and dropped the ball on that, in my opinion. Some of the scene in the cave at the end is pretty interesting with Dumbledore. I think they did a pretty good job there. The final battle, like I said, I think I said before in the last review, that in the book there's this big battle at Hogwarts, and they kind of went away from that because they were waiting for the big battle in the 8th movie. But that's too bad because that's an interesting scene in the movie anyways. And I didn't think they did the whole Half-Blood Prince reveal as well as I would have liked. I don't know why I didn't feel as much of a emotional impact as I did in the book when you find out who the Half-Blood Prince is. Obviously, there's a huge death in that movie as well, and I didn't feel like, I don't know, none of it just was executed as well as I thought it should have been for a book that I had high expectations for. So I mean, the Lux, when he drinks the luck potion, that's definitely the best scene in the movie. It's a great scene, but besides that, I don't know, a lot of it just didn't feel like it was done as well for me. So number 7 is the very first Harry Potter movie, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, where we get first introduced to young Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson and Rupert Grint. Again, the story itself is a very short story compared to the other ones. It's only 200 pages or something. But it's a good book to introduce the Wizarding world and Harry Potter and his whole situation. So of course the movie itself, it doesn't really pick up till he gets to Hogwarts. So the first part I've never been really interested in. He gets bullied and he has terrible you know, I don't know what you call them, adopted parents. I don't know, his aunt and uncle are horrible to him. So I never enjoyed that first part where he's being kind of abused by his family, and it definitely gets really interesting when you meet Hagrid and you find out about his past. That's really good. I love the scene where he finds out you learn about Voldemort and his whole backstory is great. I love the Voldemort backstory. They do such a good job. And building the world in Hogwarts at the beginning, and his first time there, that's all pretty fun and everything. Um, I think what's the weakest part, this couple of weakest parts of the movie is one, the CGI is just really bad. It takes me out. I don't think it did back then, but now it does. When I see him flying on blooms, it looks terrible, the CGI. Also, there's a troll scene that the troll looks terrible CGI. So I don't know. Story wise, it's fine. There's some good moments in there. Learning about the Sorcerer's Stone and them figuring out who Voldemort's after it, and the whole bait switch with is Snape a bad guy or not? All that stuff. But yeah, I think for me it's just, and also the kid acting is not particularly very good. They're obviously very young, new at acting. Like I said, the great they have. I love the Great British adult cast is great. They get some of the best British actors to play the teachers and so forth. But the kid actors, not great yet. They definitely have a ways to go. But yeah, so that's why I put it here at number 7 on my list. Number 6 on my list is Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, the 5th movie and book in the series. I don't know. This is the one that, I don't know, story-wise, it's not been my most, it's not been the best story out of the books, in my opinion, and in the movies as well. The whole story revolves around finding this, what do you call it? Now I can't think of the name, but he's trying to find this item, that tells, predicts what's going to happen in the future or whatever, and they're trying to find it to try. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but the Voldemort's, I guess, after it or something. To see, I can't remember why he's even after it, to be honest. But they're after this thing that's at the Ministry of Magic, and it kind of, the end scene is at the Ministry of Magic where they're finding out about this. I guess it's Harry Potter. How can Voldemort, defeat Harry Potter or something? Anyways. Story-wise, not the greatest, in my opinion. I'm reading the book right now, actually. It's the last book that I haven't reread during the series. So I'm rereading it, and I don't know. I'm kind of bored on the book. But I mean, I love the book series. 5th book is the longest book, and it's also drags a little bit. I don't know. It's just not the most interesting story compared to the other ones, in my opinion. You have the whole him and Snape doing the, looking at his brain and stuff. I've never been interested in that, really. I do love Luna Lovegood's a great character they introduced in the movie. That's maybe one of the best positives here. The Voldemort Dumbledore fight scene is definitely like the highlight in the book and in the movie. I think that's probably the best scene, seeing those two juggernauts, go at each other, the two like greatest wizards of all time. Yeah, that's a really cool scene. But yeah, most of it, I don't know. I just never been that interested in that in the book or in the movie for some reason, the storylines and so forth. But yeah, so that's why it's kind of in the movie. I don't know. It just didn't have as much interest in it as the other one. So that's why it's kind of towards the bottom here at number 6 on my list. I believe, yeah, 6. All right, number 5 on my list. This will be a surprise because this is everybody's number 1, but I'm not into this movie as much as other people, and that is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. It's number 5 out of 8 movies. Yeah, gets a lot of praise. People love this movie. I think a lot because it's Alfonso Cuarón. It's his only movie. He directs this movie. It's the only movie he directs in this whole series. And he goes on to be like, one of the greatest directors of all time. I mean, I think he's won 2 Oscars for Best Director. Very, highly praised director. And so you kind of see it in the movie. I can understand, like, the cinematography is really good. It's a little darker tone, though, and I think it's maybe Alfonso Cuarón's more, that's his thing. Definitely, this is different from the first two movies, where yeah, it just overall feels darker, the more mature type movie, and so I kind of miss the more fun kid movies of the first two sometimes when I get to this one. But it is really well directed. I think, like I said, cinematography is really good. Design, everything, set designs, everything. Even cinematography feels like it's different. All of a sudden, we're getting all these like beautiful mountains and stuff like that. Like they changed scenery to where they're now like in New Zealand. They're obviously shooting in New Zealand with all these beautiful scenery scenes they didn't really do in the first two movies. Um, but you know, my problem, I guess, again, it's not my favorite story. I mean, it just all revolves around Sirius Black and him. We think he's a bad guy, of course, going after Harry Potter, and of course, then we find out like a little bit about his parents' past, which is, I mean, that's interesting and everything, and all the new characters and stuff. And we do get a lot of good characters here with um, uh, David Thewlis, I think his name is, plays a new dark Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, Ramus. You know, that character's great. The actor's great. You know, Timothy Spall is great as a sibling kind of bad guy. And then of course, Sirius Black himself is great. You know, they got a really good actor to play that. So there's some good stuff there. I said, I don't know. I guess I'm just not into the darker tones of the movie. Also, the comedy does not work. There's a couple of scenes where they're trying to be funny, and I'm like, wow, that did not land at all. The comedy bits. My favorite, and I've said this when I said in my review, I said my least favorite scene I hate the most out of any Harry Potter scene is the night bus scene where he gets on the night bus, and there's this Jamaican like shrunken head that has the most annoying voice and is trying to be funny, but it's not. It's just annoying. And that whole scene, I hate that whole scene, the night bus scene. That really hurts the movie for me getting through that and going, oh God, this is terrible. Um, yeah, there's stuff like that I just not as a big a fan of. The best part of the movie definitely is the end when we get the whole um, going back in time. That is done brilliantly, and how that's all staged yeah, it's fantastic. I will admit that that's definitely by far the best part of the movie. It's still a good movie. I still get a positive review, but I still don't like it nearly as much as other people. Anyway, so yeah, Prisoner of Azkaban here at number 5 on the list. Top 4, definitely, these are definitely really, really good movies, I think. I have a lot of positive to say about these, and this might be a surprise, but number 4 is Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows Part 1. I feel like a lot of people would put this maybe towards the end, maybe even last. And when I first saw it, I thought it was maybe the worst Harry Potter movie, but when I go back to watch it, though, I actually found myself going, you know what, this is actually really well done. I think what hurts it is that's a part 1, so, you know, it ends with a cliffhanger, and we're waiting for part 2. And there's a part of you that goes, man, I wish this was all just one movie based off the 7th book, Deathly Hallows. And I don't know, I think part of most of us Harry Potter fans are not hate that when they split a book into 2 movies, you know, it almost feels like a cash grab kind of a thing. I don't know. But you know, rewatching it, actually, it's really well done. It's so much different because we don't at Hogwarts at all. It's the 3 on the run. It's this whole different storyline that I thought actually pretty interesting. The 3 being on the run and everything. We get a great, you know, Ministry of Magic where they have to break in the Ministry of Magic. It's a great scene in the book. I thought they did a really good job in the movie. I thought that was a real fun sequence of them having to get in, get the Horcrux, and get out, you know, and all that. The action scenes are done really well. Like the scene with all the Harry Potters. They all took Polyjuice potions, so there's like 7 Harry Potters, and they're being attacked. They're trying to get from the Dursleys' house to the Weasleys' house, and they're being attacked by the Death Eaters and Voldemort. Like that is a really great action scene. They're flying and they're shooting, you know, spells at each other. Yeah, I love that scene. Like I rewatch it, I go, man, this is done so well. Like the same director who did the 5th and 6th movies, I thought was terrible, and then he does the 7th, 8th movies. I'm like, wow, this guy can direct. Like I don't know, I understand. Like I thought he was terrible directing the 5th and 6th movies, and then 7th, 8th, it's like, oh, never mind, he can direct. So I don't know what happened there, but he definitely picked up his game on the last 2. But yeah, I think it's a solid entry. Also loved when they revealed the Deathly Hallows itself, and they do this animation, really cool, kind of dark, disturbing animations sequence where they show the story of the, you know, the three guys who find the three Deathly Hallows, whatever. I thought that was a great scene again. It really explains a lot and a lot of great backstory and all that. Anyways, yeah. So there's a lot of positives to say about this. Even the ending is very like one of the maybe most saddest death scenes I've ever seen. At the end, I'm like, oh no. Yeah. So overall, I think it's a really good movie. So I have it number 4, Deathly Hallows Part 2. Uh, Getting the really, really elite movies, my absolute favorites. Number 3, again, I don't know if this is a surprise, but I've always loved this movie, and that is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. The second movie, like I said, the first movie, wasn't a big fan. Third movie, wasn't a big fan. But then sandwiched in that is this movie, the second movie. And it's also one of my favorite books in the series as well. And I think a couple things. I love the story. The story is one of the best storylines, I think, in the whole series, that there's this Chamber of Secrets that's been around since, the founder, Slytherin founder, who's, obviously a bad guy, who's one of the 4 wizards who started the school, and the Slytherin house, is one of the big houses. He put in this secret chamber in Hogwarts, and then he put this kind of snake basilisk, this kind of snake-like monster creature in there that only a Slytherin can open the Chamber of Secrets, and then that monster comes out and can kind of wreak havoc and mostly kill mudbloods or not, people that don't have strong family in the wizarding world, because Slytherin was against wizards from non-wizard families coming to Hogwarts, and so I thought it was a great storyline, and then trying to figure out, who opened up the chamber, because the chamber's been opened again, who did it, and all that, and what's Harry Potter's, why he's speaking Parseltongue, which is like not a good thing, and that whole like what's Harry Potter's connection to everything, and then finding the diary and meeting Tom Riddle in the diary and how that all revolves. I think it's absolutely brilliant story writing. I think it's also a pretty funny movie. I think there's actually some pretty good comedic parts in here as well. Especially Lockhart is one of my favorite characters throughout the series. Maybe my favorite Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. Such a buffoon and imbecile and incompetent, and yet is so arrogant and thinks he's the greatest wizard of all time. And then you find out that he's just a fraud. That character is absolutely hilarious. I love Gilderoy Lockhart, the Defense Against Dark Arts teacher, one of my favorite characters. I think provides a lot of comedy. I mean, you got the whole spider scene is a great action sequence where he's running away from the big spiders in the forest. Great scene there. And yeah, the last scene is just amazing. The whole reveal of Tom Riddle, how that comes about, and then Harry Potter had to fight the basilisk, and kill it at the end, and then almost die, and then figure a way to defeat Voldemort again. I mean, man, just great screenwriting, I think, in my opinion. Like I said, it's one of the most entertaining movies. Great story. Also, like I said, more comedic, I think, than the other ones. I think they really nailed it on the second one. So that's number 3 on my list. Number 2 on my list is Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, the 4th movie in the series. This has always been a favorite of mine. Again, book is great. This is great. Again, I love the story. The storytelling is just so good. I think when I talk about why one story is better than the other one, or why one movie is better than the other one, it deals with individual stories. Even though the whole series has one overarching story, there's a plot in each movie that has a great story to it. And what I love about this one, it's so much different than the other ones. I think it's just a brilliant idea, this whole Triwizard Tournament, and how Harry Potter gets in it. Even though he doesn't enter his name, he's in it. So there's a whole mystery behind who put his name in the Goblet of Fire. I thought it was a great mystery. And then him having to go through the 3 different trials is a lot of fun. And again, it's different than the regular one, where we're not going through a normal Hogwarts year. That this is different. We got the Triwizard Tournament that only happens every once in a while, and so that was such a cool setup. The Triwizard Tournament and setting up for that. Also, man, I love what's his name? Let's see if I find his name here. The new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. Brendan Gleeson. Brendan Gleeson is so good. He's one of my favorite character actors, and he comes in and plays a new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, which is a great character, and he just totally nails it from the book. Love that. Yeah, I think it's just performed just brilliantly. The action's great. The whole dragon sequence where he's being chased by the dragon is such a great sequence. That's one of my favorite scenes in the movie, probably. Even the very first part of the movie where they go and see the World Cup Quidditch World Cup thing. I thought that was such a fun, great sequence. Yeah, overall, like I said, the CGI was so terrible in the first movie. Fourth movie, CGI just fantastic. There's so many great CGI moments, I think, in there, and I think it's shot just wonderfully. It's the only time that director directed a movie I thought he did such a good job. Mike Newell. Mike Newell, the only movie he directed, and I thought he just totally nailed the Harry Potter, everything about Harry Potter in that. Again, it even has some good comedic moments throughout, and has a great. And then the end scene where Voldemort comes back, man, that's a great scene. Ray Fiennes totally nails Voldemort. Such a good performance. One of the greatest villains of all time. I think Ray Fiennes just yeah, loved him in this role, and that whole scene with him, Harry Potter, come face to face, such a great scene. And there's even a really you get Robert Pattinson here, kind of introduced him somewhat in this movie, and really sad death scene actually. I thought done very well, and the reveal at the end with Barty Crouch Jr. or whatever. I thought there's great reveals there, some great, wow, I can't believe that happened kind of moments. Twists, a lot of twists there that happen at the end. That's great, but and it's a just a great. It's a huge point in the series when Voldemort comes back. I mean, the fourth movie, Harry Potter, the rest of the movies. I mean, we're halfway through the movies, and the rest of the movies are going to revolve around Voldemort coming back. So this is just a pivotal moment in the series, I think. And yeah, it's overall just absolutely wonderfully directed. Action's done well, comedy. The overall acting is done very well, and it's just a really interesting story. So that's why I got number 2. Number 1, no surprise if you heard my review. It's the last movie I reviewed. I absolutely love this movie. One of my favorite movies of all time, to be honest, and that's Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows Part 2. I think it's a 5-star movie. And it helps that it's the ending of the series. Of course, we finally get that conclusion to the story, which I love. And so the final movie is always usually my favorite because it concludes the story. You defeat the villain. The good guys are finally, they're successful. They're victorious, and so we get a good, after they defeat them, what happens to them. We get the sense of everybody's going to be all right. Everybody's going to have a good life. Hopefully, yeah, you get that conclusion that you always want out of the series finally. And yeah, they did a perfect job. They adapted the book very, very well. There's so many great scenes here, accumulating to the final battle. One of the great battle sequences at the end with Voldemort and his army attacking Hogwarts, and we get all the great good guy characters at Hogwarts, that are left fighting off the bad guys. So it's a great, great battle sequence overall, with wizarding, magic going on. Love all that. I mean, you have to talk about, breaking into Gringotts Bank is a great sequence. Them getting that Horcrux, and then having to break into Hogwarts, and you find out a little more about Albus Dumbledore's background, which is great. And you meet his brother Aberforth. That's all great. Getting to Hogwarts, trying to figure out the rest of trying to destroy all the Horcruxes. Yeah, and like I said, the whole battle sequence at the end. The Snape, I mean, come on. The Snape reveal is one of the great scenes of all time. The great scene of all the Harry Potter movies. Gets me crying every time I watch that scene, and just gives me goosebumps every time I see that. We get the backstory of Snape finally in the very last movie, and everything kind of comes together, and everything starts to make sense of all his actions and everything that's going on, and you get the whole picture of the story through that sequence. I think it's just absolutely brilliant, brilliant writing, and done very well in the movie, the way it's portrayed. And Alan Rickman should have been nominated for an Oscar. Such a great performance. One of the greatest characters of all time. Snape is my favorite Harry Potter character, I think. And Alan Rickman's like one of my favorite actors. He was so good in the series. But yeah, then you get the Harry Potter. I'm spoiling some things, but you get this kind of death scene, and then him coming back to life, and that whole stuff. Oh, just brilliant, emotional story writing. And yeah, I can go on and on. Just so many great sequences throughout that battle. And then he gets to finally battle Voldemort head to head. Epic. Shot extremely well. Yeah, I just love it all. It's a very emotional movie, a very satisfying movie at the end. And we even get a little bit like into the future, what Harry Potter's life like in the future. He get married, has kids, and his kids are. We end the movie with his kids going off to Hogwarts on on the train. It's such a great finish to the story. Anyway, so yeah, love Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows Part 2. Always be my favorite probably in the series. But yeah, so that's my ranking of these movies. Feel free to give me your own ranking in the comments, what you think about what my ranking is. Love to read the comments. So yeah, so thank you to anybody watching the series. Thank you for liking it. Thank you a lot to Briar from Briar Music Showcase. Definitely check his channel out. Subscribe to him. He's a great guy and he has a great knowledge of music. Always impressed by him. So definitely check him out, Briar from Briar's Music Showcase. And thank you to all my subscribers for supporting the channel. I just appreciate all of you and hope you have a good day.